G'day guys, how you doing? It's Lawrence here with another video about just being yourself, man. Doing your own thing and just going your own way. Trying to be as happy a person as you possibly can. Or just trying to become the best version of yourself out there. I've said it in other videos and I'll keep on saying it. You'll be the best project you ever worked on. But anyway, this is part 2 of that whole red pill rage deal. That I was talking about in the last video. And in that last video I said that I'd walk you through some of the things that I personally experienced and what helped me with the process, what helped me get through my rage phase. Well, in the previous video I mentioned about I did have the help of a extremely good therapist, what I would call a soul counselor. And the interesting thing about that form of therapy is it takes the mind and it takes your soul, and as you repair your soul, as you repair your inside, because there is something inside of you. I know this for a fact. I died when I was 24. I left my body, I crossed over, I took everything with me, all my experiences, all my feelings, all my emotions, everything. So there definitely is this entity, this soul energy that is inside of us. I know this for a fact. So what I was able to do when I was healing my soul, it was a process of bringing my mind and my soul together. But I still had my battles, because this stuff just doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of the guys that actually have most probably been down a similar soul-searching path in their life will all attest to the fact that this is actually a long, painful, drawn-out process. And it really, truly is. So there I was in a completely different country, and the only support network that I had was one individual, and it was this woman who was literally, I was paying to actually get counsel from her, work at healing what was going on inside of me. Well, excuse me, it's hot today. I am sweating. It is quite a warm one. But anyway, while I was doing this work, as I was healing what was going on inside of me, there was one thing that actually started to happen, and it started in September of 2004, if I remember correctly. It was a Wednesday evening, and I went to a local bar, and I got absolutely blind drunk. That was the start. That was the start of what would next be my life for the next 3 years. Not blind drunk every night, but I call it my power drinking phase. And what I was doing was, there was so much pain inside of me. There was so much heartache. There was so much anguish that was inside of me. I had to numb myself in some way, shape, or form. Remember, I said I was by myself. I was out here in the United States, and I was by myself. I only had one individual that I could fall back on. My parents didn't even talk to me for over a year and a half. When I needed the most amount of support that I could possibly have, there was no, hey, we'll come back to New Zealand and take a break for 6 months. There was nothing like that. I was on my own. So what I did was, I was fortunate enough to actually have my first shop. And my first shop that I had 2 offices. And I actually turned my first office, one of the offices, actually into a space that I could live in. And I turned it into my own little personal boudoir. And I was also working on this project behind me here, this 57 Chevrolet. This was another life-saving project. There's actually 2 projects over 2004 and 2005 that actually helped get me through this healing process, or get me through the pain. these projects here, like this 57 Chevrolet, what they did was they gave me something to focus on. They gave me something to pour my energy into that would take my mind off the pain. So what I did was, during the day, there was no alcohol in any way, shape, or form. And because I was living in my shop, what I would do is I'd get up, I'd go to the gym every morning, I'd work out, I'd sweat the previous night's alcohol out of my system, you know, shower, go have breakfast, and then I'd start my day's work. And what it allowed me to do was, this stuff, these projects, allowed me to focus in on that work, and then in the evenings I would actually go and get sloshing frickin' drunk. In between time, once or twice a week, I would be going to the therapist and doing the work that I was doing with her. And I was actually able to repair what was inside of me. I was actually really, truly able to heal the hurt that was inside of me. But I had also gotten on a hamster wheel. I got on running on this hamster wheel of wanting to become, you know, this badass hot rod builder, you know, this you know, the next big guy, like a Chip Foose or a Troy Trepagna, or, you know, a Bobby Alloway, or somebody like that, a Ring Brothers, whatever. I got on this bandwagon of actually thinking that I could actually, you know, lift myself up to that level. So even though I was healing myself, I was still not 100% close to where I should be in life, or what I should have been doing. You know, I didn't realize that I couldn't run a business to save myself. I'm horrible at business. I truly am. I'm brilliant at what I do for my work. I make no bones about that. I'm very good at what I do. I just can't manage a business. I suck at it. So what my strengths are actually working for select clientele and actually doing work for them individually, and not actually having my own business. I'm better at working on a one-on-one basis with a select client, and that is what I do today. But it still took me a long time to get to that point to actually understand it. So while I was going through this red pill rage phase, okay, the first thing that I did was I moved into my new shop, and I lived in that shop. And what it allowed me to do also was I was able to have punching bag. I had a punching bag in there. And sometimes I would get so angry. I'd come back from drinking, and I would just start screaming, and I'd just start pounding the shit out of this frickin' bag, right? Just beat the fuck out of it. And I used to imagine, like, my father on that bag, or some other person that had effed me over. And I would just scream and beat the shit out of that thing at 10, 11, midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, depending when I got in. And because there's nobody around me, I was actually able to let this rage out in an extremely healthy way. You know, I would remember sometimes just getting done pounding the living shit out of that bag, and just be, you know, crying my eyes out and just like, fucking why? You know, so I was fortunate enough where I had that ability to be in that situation, to do that. The second thing that I was able to do was I was able to focus on work. I had these projects that I was really able to put my attention into. And over a, gosh, how long? It was from basically end of 04, from around August of 04 to around August of 08, about 4 years. I just worked and I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. I did the best work I believe I've ever done was in that 4-year time period. And it was a lifesaver. What actually started out as being something to feed that hole inside of me became one of the greatest gifts that actually helped literally save my life, was this undivided devotion towards doing my work, and doing my work to the best possible level that I could do it to the highest possible standard. And that was just amazing. And thirdly, I had this amazing therapist that I was able to work with. I also read a lot. I should throw that in there also. Number 4, I read a lot. I read an incredible amount of material. One of the books that I've shared with you earlier on this year, Iron John. I would read that book upwards of 2 times a year. I would read and read and read. I read Iron John. I read books by Deepak Chopra. I read books by Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung to understand psychology. I read books by John Bradshaw about healing, your inner child. He's got a book called The Homecoming. John Bradshaw is most probably one of the most prolific writers on this subject of healing the actual wounded soul, healing that inner person or that inner being. So I was able to bury myself in that stuff, and it helped me get through that process. And it was about 4 years. It really, really was, because what happened, I got to the end of 2007, beginning of 2008. I'll never forget it, actually. It was end of 2007. I was at the gym. I was working out with a couple of my buddies, and one of my buddies was actually he was in AA, and I'd gone on my last bender. Actually, I lie. It wasn't the end of 2007. It was the beginning of 2008. I went on my last bender. It was 5 days of just tearing it up, right? And I went into the gym. I hadn't gone to the gym for a few days, and I walked up to my buddy and I was like, "When's the next meeting, dude? Because I am absolutely exhausted." And what that allowed me to do was going to AA for 2 years. For 2 years, I stopped drinking. Okay, and I'll do another whole video on alcoholism, and the damage that actually drinking alcohol does in large quantities, the damage that it does to us as human beings. But what I did was I was able to stop drinking for 2 years, and what I'll talk about in the next video is how I was able to really start connecting the dots that got me to literally the point that I'm at right now. So I hope that's helped you guys a little bit more understand the whole red pill rage phase, at least what I experienced, because I know that what I've experienced is going to be similar to what a lot of other men have already experienced. Or if you're willing or even open or even brave enough to go down this path and actually take a major dose of red pill. I mean, I see a lot of this, "Oh, I've taken the red pill," on fucking YouTube, and it's like, oh my god, you aren't even fucking close to taking a red pill. Like I said, I hope this has helped some of you guys out. If you're brave enough to go down this path, you're going to have to expect a lot of pain, a lot of anguish, and it's going to be a number of years worth of work. It really, truly is. It's a serious amount of work, but you can get through it. You can do it. And I know right now that, the suicide rate in the United States is at the level that it is right now because men are facing this. They're facing exactly what I've explained and what I've talked about, but they don't feel like they have the support. And instead of being able to face it and realize that they can get through this, it's just easier for them to go and blow their frickin' brains out. So I really do hope that this helps some guys. I really, truly do. So until next time, make it great, guys. If you like the subject, pound the shit out of the like button and feel free to subscribe. I will be back, and I will be back soon. Talk to you later. Cheers.